What's up, everybody? I remembered the password and I am back. But no, seriously, I started some new jobs and my schedule's just been absolutely insane. I'm just trying to find time and energy for everything. So that's why it's been like 2 months since I've uploaded. I'm just trying to figure it all out. But during that time, someone was like, hey, I heard this movie called The Last House on Netflix. People get trapped in their house and they kind of have to figure everything out. I feel like you would like this. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna check it out, see what's up. It's a Netflix movie, so, I already expected it to not have the highest of, not quality, but I've watched a couple of Netflix movies and I'm just kind of like, like, I don't think you guys get it. I was like, all right, let me check it out anyways. And this movie sucked, but it also had so many things that it kept adding on that I was just like, I gotta see how they land the plane. You know what I'm saying? Well, metaphorically, I gotta see how this all wraps up. And so I ended up watching the whole thing, and by the end, I was like, "Golly, I wasted like 2 hours of my time." But it was for sure an experience. All right, so if you haven't seen this movie or even heard about it, basically, like I was told, one day this neighborhood they all find out that they are trapped inside of their house. It kind of feels magically, but it's not magic. So I guess spoilers for that. They are all trapped in their house, right? And so I was like, all right, cool. And we'll start off spoiler free and then we'll get into spoilers in case you haven't seen this movie or you don't care. So, spoiler free, right? So there's a setup to what's keeping them in the house, and there is a payoff into what is keeping them in the house. The setup feels like, oh, this is turning into a different movie, but in a good way. And then you get to what it actually is, and it's like, okay, this is also good. It isn't what you kind of set up in terms of like the feel of the movie, but it's just still good. I kind of like this. There's a lot of cool ideas here. And when you get to the end of that aspect of the movie, it's just kind of like, oh, that was a choice and it was a bad one. I just don't know how they got there. And honestly, like, because there are so many cool ideas, there's a lot of like poor execution in terms of those cool ideas, especially when it comes to like the plot. Clearly, it's like, oh, we want this to happen, but we don't know how to logically make it happen, so we're just gonna we're gonna have stuff not happen so that we can move the story forward. It's kind of hard to talk about spoiler free, but yeah, it was just kind of like and that being said, like, the movie feels like it's like two different movies in one, and it's also like two different parts, and there's a very specific aspect of the movie that makes it feel like it's two different parts, in my opinion. And so when I got to part two, that's where it has like a lot of like the worst, some cool moments for sure, but like a lot of like, I was just like, oh my god, like, what are we doing here, moments. And I feel like this movie could have just been like a tight like hour and a half movie, because it feels like before part two starts, like it would have just gone into the third act, and then we just would have finished off the movie, and instead decided to do like another part. And so I was just like, I don't know how, I never understand how, like, when people are making movies, they like don't see what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And it's no offense to the creatives or anything like that. It's just, as an outsider, I don't I don't have the knowledge for it. The biggest sin of this movie, other than the kind of letdown of the ending, is that, so everyone's trapped in the house, and we all have gone through COVID, right? And so like we were trapped inside, but like you could actually like leave your house, you can go to the store, hopefully wear a mask and like distance from people if you're smart. But you had the ability to leave. So having a movie where there's like literally like you can't leave your house, like there are forces keeping you inside of your house only. This family acts so weird, just in general, to like the situation that's going on. They kind of act like they've been prepping for this their entire life, and it's just like, what are we talking about? And it's just, the movie spends so much time making it feel like being trapped inside with your family would be like a vacation, until the movie remembers that, like, no, this is like something that's scary, and then it'll give you like a scary moment and let that sit for a little bit, and then it goes back to like being a vacation. And it was just like, how do y'all not see that this is like not good for the movie and not the story that you should be telling? Again, with the real life information of knowing that, hey, we've all been through COVID, we know what it's like. And again, we could literally walk outside if we needed, a break or something, but these people got nowhere to go. And so I don't know how this movie isn't more of like a psychological like horror movie with minor aspects of like, oh, but like, they're with the ones they love, instead of it being like, they're with the ones they love, oh, and sometimes bad things happen. And so it's just like, I don't understand how the movie was made the way that it was. And because we live in the day and age that we do now, when the credits were rolling, I was just like, did AI make this? You know what I'm saying? Now I gotta ask, did AI help editing? Like, what did, like, with the script and stuff? Like, I don't get it. And another thing is, like, so you have the two parts, you have the characters acting weird, in my opinion, and there are a lot of, like, threads here and there that some of them are interesting, some of them aren't. Or, maybe most of them are interesting and then some of them don't really get followed up on, or there's like not a good answer for it. And so I went through this being like, man, I gotta know how this ends, just for me to get to the ending and being like, fuck, like, if I could go back in time, if I could do the Mr. Krabs thing where it comes out of my eyes and goes back into the screen, I would do that, just because I was like, man, we just didn't get there at the end. So yeah, I don't recommend this movie, but if you're curious, I would say just like go in like with low expectations. Just not imagine, but like go in having like I'm just gonna have a good time watching this dumb movie type vibe, rather than trying to enjoy a film, right? Because this ain't it. And I knew from the beginning that this wasn't gonna hit, because they started doing a voiceover and there was like the way that the dialogue was being delivered, and I was like, oh, I am in for a time. So yeah, I don't recommend this movie. I'd give it like a 5 out of 10. It's not awful, but it is bad. I mean, I'd put this above, War of the Worlds with Ice Cube, but I mean, this movie wasn't like, decent. It was just, ugh. So that are my spoiler-free thoughts. I'm going to get into spoilers. So again, if you plan on watching this movie, go watch it and then come back and let me know if you somehow think that I'm wrong and this movie was like a masterpiece or something to you. Or you can stick around for spoilers in case you don't care, because again, I don't recommend this movie. But yeah, I want to get into spoilers in 3, 2. Alright, so spoilers, everybody. If you skipped ahead, I think that this movie sucked, right? So let's start off the way I did with the spoiler-free part, right? You find out that there was some sort of creature in the water. The water is keeping them inside. Even if they try to break the glass or whatever, or the walls, there's still a barrier outside the house, no matter which direction they go. Smart. Great idea. I like that. Okay. You see the creature outside, the little girl is there and she keeps seeing it and she's like, oh, the lady in the water or whatever. I'm like, okay, this is kind of turning into a horror movie. I kind of like it, a scary like sci-fi film. And then we get to the time skip, and I was like, are they gonna recast these kids or what? Okay, they recast these kids, and we are just like in a different movie. I think just because like the first half of the movie, at least it feels like the first half of the movie, part 1, is like, I just feel like it was like a little darker and everything, and then you got to the second part and like the sun shining, and then he's figured out how to make all these contraptions for each different animal, and it's like, what are we talking about? And she's got all the stalks growing in the house, and she's like brushing it through them, like, oh, look, we figured it out how to do a garden inside the house. And then the girl's coloring and all that, and it just feels like from transitioning from kind of like the start of it to like the 5-year jump was just like, we figured it out for 5 years of being trapped with your family, and we're all doing pretty much okay. And it was just like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, I'm sorry, we went through COVID, and like, again, I was telling spoiler free part, right? We could go outside, you could like head to the store if you really needed to or whatever. I can't imagine being trapped inside with my family for 5 years. We wouldn't make it 5 years. I'm telling you now, we wouldn't make it 5 years. Even if we had the food and whatever, I don't think like mentally we would make it that long. And so you get to this part and it feels like everything's kind of figured out. Son's a little mad, but like whatever. Like everything's good in the neighborhood. And then we get back to the aliens, which is where I started this part, right? And there are these giant squid creatures. And I was like, okay, I kind of like it. It's not really the vibe of the first part where it felt kind of more darker and scarier. But all right, these giant squid creatures, it's still scary, right? The way that when given the chance to be scary, they'll like bust, through like a wall or whatever and start running at you at the camera, and the tentacles are whipping around, and they can use those independently. It's like, oh, okay, and they can control water. Is like terrifying. And then and then I was like, wait a minute. They just opened the door and stepped inside. Fine. Why did they wait 5 years? They knew everyone was in the house. They trapped everybody in the house. So why would you wait so long to go into the house? Like, did they forget? Like, they killed everyone else, or everyone else in the neighborhood seemed to die. So, like, what? And then we saw the lady who went out to find help, and then she finally came back, and then she had a knife, and she was like she looked terrifying. That was a great scene. And she's like trying to break everyone out of their house, like, well, you guys gotta get out of here. Like, they're gonna come and they're gonna grab you. And when they get her, right, I'm all over the place, because just like this movie, they get her, right, and there's like a big flash of light, and then that never comes back. And I was like, what? But they grab her, so it looks like they're searching for humans to consume or whatever they're doing. And so it's like, okay, they've trapped everyone in the house, right? So that they know everyone's in the house. So why wouldn't they just go door to door? Why wasn't the plan, we'll trap everyone in the house with our water powers, and then we'll one by one just go in the houses and take all the humans, and they can't group up on us because we've trapped them in the house, right? Why am I a better writer than so many people? And instead, the one decides to just go into the house one day because the plot needs to move forward. And I was like, why did we do that? Why did the alien wait so long? Why did the alien come alone? Why wasn't it like, okay, cool, I kind of had a tough time or whatever. There's a couple of them in there. Why don't we just send like 2 or 3 of us in there and, snatch them all up real quick? What are we doing? Sticking with the alien, anytime it was in the house or it was in the water, its element, it seemed like it didn't know what to do, and it was just kind of like standing still so that the plot moved forward, clearly because the family would have been killed like instantly or taken instantly. And so, especially like when the house is flooding, they're like, oh, Dad, it's heading that way. And then like you don't see it, but they're saying it, and then it's like, oh no, now it's heading that way. And I'm like, this thing would be like a torpedo. Like, you guys wouldn't have made it as far as you did, but somehow you did, again, because they clearly didn't know how to make an interesting thing and make it logical as well. So then the creature just feels like it's standing still until it needs to do something, and then it does the thing, and it's just kind of like, I don't know, whatever the scene needs. And we get to the end part, and they're gonna kill this creature, and out of nowhere, this creature, as we assume, has been attacking them the last like 3 times. The daughter's suddenly like, oh, remember in the first half of the movie when I said there's a nice one, and we haven't had a single moment of a nice one like helping us out somehow, maybe bringing us food or some sort of something. No, we're gonna wait to the very end where this thing is about to die because we're gonna kill it, to be like, hey, remember that nice one? Maybe we should let this one go. and they decided to let it go, even though they shot this one and almost like tore it apart with the little rope thing that they made. It was like getting squeezed to death. And it goes, you know what, GG, you guys won. Let's get out of here. And it's also, I guess, the queen. I gotta assume, because maybe the movie didn't say it. And she's like, let's get out of here, everybody. And so they all leave, and then the voiceover is like, all the aliens left, and we've never seen, or whatever they were, and we've never seen them again. And it's like, why would they suddenly leave? Why would that one not just be like, psych, you got played, and then just rip them all to shreds out of anger, if anything? Why was the nice one never actually nice to them? What are we doing here? And so when we get to the end part, I was like, oh my god, this is like, it wasn't even like there's a queen, and if we kill the queen, they're all connected. It was just like, we saved the one that we were gonna kill, and it was like, hey man, I guess the movie's over.
An act of mercy set us free. We showed it to them, and they showed it to us.
And then the movie was over. I was like, what are we talking? And then they get on a boat because the world's like flooded or something, and they're like, all right, let's head out and see what, like, you know, what's out there. And I was like, you were just trapped inside your house for 5 years. Your son randomly, because of the plot, was like, I'm losing my mind, I gotta go outside, I'll risk it all just for some sunlight on my skin. And then you guys go, let's trap ourselves on a boat for who knows how long until we find land. And so I was like, did we watch this? Did y'all make the same movie that I was watching? Because I was just like, I don't know. I don't know. It pissed me off so bad. I was like, I just wanna erase it all from my mind. I think in the spoiler-free part, I was like, I just wanna, you know, Mr. Krabs, press the button, have the movie just go back into the screen. I don't want it anymore. Oh, what else to say about this movie? What else? Like I was telling them, the family was acting weird. I thought it was crazy that like the second day they're like locked in. They're like, okay, we need the ration food. We need to stay physical. I'm gonna learn how to start planting. Blah 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 blah. And it's like, I'm from the 90s, right? So 90s, early 2000s movie. There would have been some small lines here and there. Hey, dad's a weird inventor. Now, he never sells any of his weird gadgets. Money's tight right now. You know, mom is a gardener and she has a hobby of like keeping bees or something like that. And it would have made sense for all of this shenanigans to happen. It would have been not a good enough answer, but it would have been an answer. This movie doesn't give you an answer. Everyone just starts randomly getting skills out of nowhere. When they're like keeping busy and the girl is doing when she's little, and she's doing the like little what do you call it, suspended like ribbon thing. I was like, why is this here? Why? When did she learn how to do that? What is this? Just I don't even know. Where did this come from? It was cool, but it was like so random. It was so random. Like I was telling them, the fact that like this movie kept treating being trapped in the house as like a vacation. There's so many montages of them just chilling, and then something bad would happen. Oh no, the dog's sick, and then it would go back to like a montage of them just kind of chilling. And I was like, being trapped inside with your family for a month, let alone 5 years, would drive you all nuts. Like most families I don't think would make it. And so this movie being like, oh, it's fine, it's all about togetherness and being one with your family and blah 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 blah. I was like, what are we talking about? Like, do most of y'all have like a good family on the writing team or whatever? Because I can tell you, like, it ain't like that for everybody. You know what I'm talking about? I thought it was weird. Like, it was a cool idea to like set up like the neighbors and everything, and I thought there was gonna kind of be some bigger payoff to all of it. I did like that the older couple, they just died. Like there was an aspect of we're connecting in a way, but there's also like nothing we can do. Um, I think that also goes back to one of the good scenes of the lady, the scary moment of the lady, trying to break everyone out of their house. She looks like a killer, but she's really just trying to help everybody, and then she gets taken. Um, Speaking of scenes, actually, like, I think there are two moments that really stood out to me. It was when the parents are actually allowed to have like moments of of depression and sadness and all of that, all the negative emotions that would come with the situation that they're in. And so the father, who's like slamming the car into the garage door because he just needs to get out to help his kid, and he's like just at his wit's end. I love that. There was the part where the mother, I think earlier in that, was just like, I forget what she was yelling about, but she was like yelling and having this moment of like like, we're cooked, like there's nothing we can do, like I've lost all hope, and I don't know what we're supposed to do. And he's like trying to keep her sane. I think it's when she's like, we're gonna run out of food, like this is it. The moment of from the dog dying to from the dog dying all the way to the end of like, hey, take care of this, I don't want to know what you had to do, and him just in the kitchen, just like quietly washing the knife, and just like the heaviness of that scene. Granted, and this is the only spoiler, because when someone told me about the movie, right, I went on TikTok, and our phones are always listening. And so one of the things popped up about the movie on TikTok, and I paused it, but I went to the comments because I wanted to see if people were saying like, oh, this movie's good or not before I watch it. And someone was like, yo, they had the Asian family eat the dog. And I was like, hey, no way that got past whatever team is on at Netflix. And then I was like, no, they let the Asian family eat the dog. That's crazy. Granted, like they didn't have, you have to kind of imply that they ate the dog. There's no like clear like moment, but because the dad was like, I'm gonna save like the dog meat for like worst case, and then you get another great scene of like the daughter who's like, I'm so hungry, please, like I can I have more just this one time? And they're like, no. And she's like, please, I just need to sniff it or something, like I just need to feel something. And then she goes in the fridge and there's nothing. And the mom's just like, fuck it. Like, I don't care. Opens up all the pantries, right? And it's like, there's nothing. We're like, this is it for us. So based on that scene, right? One of the good scenes, you have to imagine like, well, they went through all the dog meat already. Like it's like there was no reserves. So they ate the dog. So the Asian family ate the dog. And I don't know how that got past everyone at Netflix, but I guess they thought it was a good idea. I could go all over the place with this movie, but ultimately I thought this movie wasn't good. But it had so many cool ideas that I think, again, you could have took all the best parts of this movie and you could have just done a really good third act of the first part we got of like, hey, the aliens are here and they're gonna start taking people. And we got to deal with that and figure out how to get out of the house. And then we could have just kept the younger kids in that cast, and then just like finished it and had it be like a tight hour and a half, hour 45. I don't think this movie needs to be as long as it was, and then have two parts. It just feels like two different movies that got like mashed together, and it ultimately just didn't work, and the ending sucked. So, and I wonder if it was it AI? Was it the Chat GBT? I don't know. I don't like AI. But yeah, if you watch this movie, let me know what you think. If you thought this movie was good, please let me know what you think, because I just need to understand your thinking, your rationale. But yeah, hopefully I'm gonna get back to at least, I want to do at least one video a week if I can. But we'll see what happens. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, peace.